our instructional design team project, we are designing a training for the use of OneDrive. So because OneDrive is a tool that's becoming more and more effective and more useful in the workplace, we decided that we're going to train first the IT people in order for them to be conversant with the tool and for them to go through the actual webinar training that will allow them to be able to then turn around and train others. In doing this, we spent time discussing what will be the best tool to use to pull together all the IT people and get them trained, get them up to speed on how to use OneDrive. And we're trying to use a tool that also allows them not to have to travel, not to have to go from point A to B, and some of them who may be working remotely to be able to actually do it from home. As we discussed this, we ended up settling on using Webex as the tool. We found that Webex has so many different features and so many different capabilities that would be ideal for our instructional design team project. And it will be one of the best tools to use to deliver the training. So we're going to look at some of the capabilities that made it a perfect fit. Before we jump into the capabilities, I think it's always important to define what something is. Once we know what it is, then we can actually jump into figuring out why it's a perfect tool, why it's a perfect design. So what is Webex? According to a definition that we found on the website run by Cisco Webex, Webex is an online meeting platform that allows you to virtually meet with other people without leaving your home or office. Webex meetings usually require a computer with internet access and a separate phone line for you to be able to call in and dial in so that you can join and be a part of the meeting. So it's an online tool. It allows people to meet remotely, but it also allows people to connect even if they're in the same location and the instructor may be in a different location or in the same location with them, but they may be sitting in front of their computers. This is ideal for what the delivery that we're trying to make. We're trying to get people to connect and to be able to use their laptops real time as they're being trained to be able to do the practical exercise of getting on OneDrive and being able to complete the training in a practical manner. By logging into the meeting via the internet, you'll be able to see the presenter's computer screen. The presenter pretty much runs the meeting. The presenter controls who can speak and who is muted. The presenter also controls some of the features that we're going to discuss later. Presenter can be one person or it can be several different people that are given the presentation rights. And they're also the ones responsible for responding to chat, questions, and facilitating the entire meeting to make sure that it runs smoothly. So we started off by looking at the strengths and weaknesses of Webex. Of course, when you look at strengths, you try to ensure that your strengths outweigh your weaknesses so as to be able to come up on the upper hand. We realized that a lot of the strengths were pretty much what we needed, and the weaknesses were minor enough that it wasn't something that would impede our goal and cause us not to be successful. So let's start off by looking at strengths. Some of the strengths include the controls. When you look at the controls with Webex, I think one of the biggest things we would all agree on is that if you've ever been on a webinar, the biggest issue tends to be the background noise. So people will be sitting on their office desk and they forget that they're in a meeting, and there may be people passing by and greeting them and saying hello. They may have other distractions going on, like the phone ringing, which is something which they can't control. Or sometimes they may be just distracted in several different ways and creating unnecessary disruptions to the entire meeting. So Webex has muting capabilities where you can actually mute yourself, but also the actual presenter can mute everyone and only give access to the people who need to speak at the point and the moment when they're ready to speak. The speaker. The speaker can easily identify the current speaker, and you can know who's speaking by a flashing phone icon. So it allows you to see exactly who's talking because their phone icon will be flashing. And then it also shows you when people are muted and when people are raising their hands and things like that, which we'll get to later in terms of features. As far as callback, it allows audio conference, no hassling with meeting or attendee codes. It just allows you to do audio conferencing. So you can also call in a Webex just using your phone. Say you're on the run and you're on the road. You can just use your phone and call in and listen in and also be able to ask questions. You just won't have the advantage of seeing all the files and all the other features that may be provided with the screen. Outlook, you can use your Outlook or other popular scheduling application to set up both web and audio-only meetings. So it sends out an invite and it allows people the capability to download the software if they need to, and also allows them to join the meeting when you send the invite. Late attendees, one of the other things we face when we do conference calls is that a few minutes or a few moments into the call, you have people dialing in and announcing themselves. With Webex, you don't have to worry about that because late attendees can be dialed in directly into the meeting whenever you need them. Now, you may hear a beep when somebody dials in, but it's not going to interrupt the whole meeting by people having to announce themselves and disrupting the meeting. For every success, there's some weaknesses, so we'll, in all fairness, look at the weaknesses. One of the weaknesses we found was that, according to when it comes to support, the web app does not support Cisco Webex support. So if you need support, you don't have access to the actual manufacturer, Cisco Webex support, and it's not supported under that. That's a minor thing, yet it may become major whenever if issues are to escalate and things were to go wrong. When it comes to sharing, content sharing is currently only supported in Chrome and Firefox. Now again, even though that's a weakness or a drawback, those are pretty popular and pretty well used browsers, and so it should not be an issue for us to be able to deliver the training. As far as the presentation itself, presenters cannot pass keyboard and mouse control to attendees who join using the web app. Now, even though this may be a weakness, it's only a drawback in certain situations where you're trying to get people to engage in certain ways. But there are some features that overcome this weakness because you can actually allow attendees to participate in other ways and you don't have to necessarily give them keyboard and mouse control. So this, to me, even though it's a weakness, it's not really that big a deal because there are ways to overcome it. You can't switch seamlessly to desktop app if you're using the web app in a private or incognito browser window. Again, it may be a drawback, but not that big a deal when it comes to the thing that we're trying to accomplish. As far as the audio option, the call using computer audio option is only supported on Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge. Now, a weakness undoubtedly, but overcome because Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge are sufficient for us to be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve. So when we weighed the strengths and weaknesses, we realized that this was the best app, given that every single app out there has some strengths and some weaknesses, and in this one, the strengths vastly outweighed the weaknesses. We then went on to look at the usability and sustainability of Webex. Webex enables users in a webinar environment to use many resources. Some of those resources include audio, video conferencing, you can do text chatting, you can do document and application sharing. You can actually create whiteboards where people can actually write their comments on it or brainstorm on a whiteboard. And presentations can be done at the same time. So you can create a presentation, put it in the background and run it. And you can also allow people to engage by giving you feedback on a whiteboard and not just the chat windows. Webex is great for digital usage. It provides delivery to widely dispersed and large audiences that could be recorded and used for later learning. In fact, most of the modern use for Webex is where the content is recorded and then it is dispersed for later use. So most trainings are being done that way now. The original training is done live, and then it's recorded and used over and over and over and over. It incorporates many instructional learning strategies. One of them is narration. Other one is guided discussion. It allows people to discuss concepts and principles around a certain concepts. It allows simulation. It allows case studies. It allows demonstration. And it also allows illustration. We then moved on to look at sustainability of Webex. It is demonstrated in several use cases from healthcare to education in providing sustainability. It provides a platform for instruction that is designed to not only facilitate learning in a web-based instruction environment, but also be expansive for processes beyond the classroom, like in administration and IT security. So you can use it in so many different environments. You can use it in live training classes. You can use it for meetings. You can use it for collaboration tools. You can use it to bring a team together no matter where they may be, and create an environment where they can actually work on projects together. We went on to look at the features of Webex. Now, some of them I've already mentioned, but here we'll just give a list of some of the features that make Webex the most ideal tool to use for our instructional design project. Number one, it has multimedia content sharing. Videos, files, and text can all be shared over Webex. When you're in a training room and somebody wants to share a video, or wants to share a file, or wants to just share something that contains text, it is an ideal platform because they can simply upload that information and it can actually be shared for everybody else to see. When it comes to webinars, whether they're live or recorded webinars, it allows participants in the live webinars in particular to raise hands and ask questions. It gives it more of an orderly fashion where people are not just jumping in and talking, but they can raise their hand and wait to be called upon. It allows people to give a thumbs up. So again, limits distractions. Instead of interrupting the meeting, I can just give a thumbs up and say, yes, I agree with what you're saying. It allows people to choose whether they want to use video or not. At some point, the presenter may require that everybody uses video, sets themselves up, and so we can see everybody and where they are. And again, if you want to do that as a presenter, that minimizes the risk of distractions. You can also mute yourself or unmute yourself. The presenter can also take control of that and mute and unmute people as necessary. People can work in groups. Webex allows you to split people, if it's a large group, into separate groups, and they can do separate things. The presenter will be able to go across from one group to the other and see what they're doing and interact with them. Only the people in that group can hear each other, but the people in other groups cannot hear them. And once they come back together, they can bring the feedback on what they discussed. The whiteboard feature is one of the best features of Webex because it allows the participants to actually write on a whiteboard, including the presenter. And so you can ask questions and say, well, let's brainstorm. Let's put everything that we're thinking on this whiteboard. And as you're writing it on there, everyone can see everybody else's ideas. It facilitates collaboration in a very interesting way. And without giving away presenter permissions, you're allowing people to collaborate and give their thoughts and ideas as if they were in the same room. Additional features include application and file sharing, call sharing, conferencing, chat and brainstorming tools. These allow you to enhance your ability to share different things, to brainstorm, and to have groups working together and collaborating in a very effective way on one singular platform. With all these features, we understand that Webex is a very effective tool. It helps us enhance our ability to collaborate, to bring people together from different locations, to save money and save time, where people don't have to travel long distances to be in the same location. They can get on the same platform, they can see each other, they can communicate with each other, and they can do all the different things that they need to do in order to effectively get the training done. comes to Webex integration, we know that it can integrate seamlessly with many industry-leading apps, and that's one of the factors that allowed us to be confident in choosing it. Webex also has new OneDrive for Business bot, which allows it to connect clearly and effectively to OneDrive. This will become very essential when we're trying to do our practical connections, allowing those people who are learning to do their practical exercises. It'll be the most beneficial way for the presenter to get information to the IT techs as well as record the training itself. So there'll be files and things that they need to be shared, and Webex will be an effective way to do that. Training dates and times will be set up by Webex and shared out through the company email and calendars, and everybody that's coming to the training will be invited, and once they're invited to the training, they'll be able to accept the invitation and go through and download the software ahead of time and be ready for the meeting. All the training materials will be recorded by a Webex meeting, and some of the files will actually be uploaded to the Webex platform. There'll be a PowerPoint slide that's established and used for the training. Training will be distributed to employees that cannot make the training via shared links to videos. So anybody who's not able to make it will be able to get the recorded video. These are some of the sources that we used to come up with this information. And at the end of the day, we concluded that Webex will be the most beneficial and most effective tool for our instructional design training on the use of OneDrive.